Hey guys, did you know that I have a Patreon where you can support me and plus get awesome rewards? Or if you're thinking to yourself, but Julian, I want even more bang for my buck while still supporting you, you can pop over to my Redbubble and check out my awesome store with new designs appearing regularly. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch.
Hey everyone, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Julian Greystoke. Today, I am wearing my inappropriate comment woman shirt, which I designed myself, and you can purchase on a shirt or a mug or a pillow or stickers, whatever you want, on my Redbubble store. Links in the doobly-doo, check that out. So today we're going to talk about a book called Queen of Blood. What is that title? It really doesn't have a lot to do with the story, it's just, I think it edgy. It's a very edgy title. Anyway, Queen of Blood, what is it about? Well, it is about a girl named Delena who lives in a very interesting world in which all of the elements that surround us, air, fire, water, all of it, are controlled by these little creatures called spirits. And without these spirits, we don't have like anything. Without fire spirits, fires won't light. Without wind spirits, there is no wind. Without water spirits, there's no water for crops. And without like tree spirits, nothing grows. So their world is dependent upon these spirits. And certain people are able to control them. People like Delena, who have abilities to control these spirits, they go to a special school to learn how to do it, and they are in charge of keeping the spirits in check because the spirits are not friendly. The spirits hate people and want them dead. And the spirits are becoming more powerful and possibly even wheedling their way into the trust of the current queen of the land, the queen being the person who is most powerful and most able to control the spirits, who is in charge of protecting everyone, most of all, from the spirits, in charge of negotiating with them, in charge of making sure that they don't try any shit. But it seems like the spirits might be planning to try some shit. So Delena teams up with a disgraced warrior named Ven, and together they must figure out this shit, what's going on with the spirits, what's going on with the queen, and it just goes from there. Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot in this book. It is not a small book. So let's just talk about the spirits for a second. I love this magic system because magic in this world is the spirits. So if you want to, say, cast a fireball, you need to call upon a fire spirit and convince them to do that for you, either by commanding them with your own power or by bargaining with them. Now, Delena does tend to be better at bargaining than she does commanding, but we'll get to that in a second. I love the spirits, and I love that they are hostile towards humans. They're like Pokemon, if Pokemon wanted you dead. Like, even if you were to befriend a spirit, which Delena kind of does, that spirit is still looking for every opportunity to hurt you. It is basically using you as much as you are using it, and it's a very delicate balance to strike, and I love it. So good. So let's talk about this. Delena goes to a school, sort of the first, at least quarter of the... What the fuck is going on with my focus? Anyway, like I was saying, at least the first quarter, I think, of this book, at least, is Delena going to this special school where she can learn to control the spirits. It's like Hogwarts, but there's not too much focus on the school. I do love, though, the culture of this school. It's very different from a lot of magical schools that you see. All of the teachers and upperclassmen wear the scars that they have gotten from controlling spirits and battling with spirits with pride. They accentuate their scars. They decorate their prosthetic limbs. I love it. Also, they have a culture of cooperation versus competition. In so many stories where kids go to like a magical school, there is a sense of competition. You're always competing with the other students, but here it's like, no, we have to teach the kids to think strategically and work together most of the time, because otherwise they are going to die. So there's a great emphasis on sharing what you've learned and helping your fellow students. There are a few places where competition does come into it, but the emphasis is much less at this school, and I really like that. Another thing I really like is that the people in this world live in the trees, tree villages. Everyone lives in trees, including the queen. Nobody lives on the ground. They farm on the ground, but they live in the trees, and everybody is really good at climbing trees, really good at jumping from tree to tree. Everyone's very agile and nimble. I love that too. This world is very interesting to me and very original, and I'm all about that. And of course, everything is nature-based because of the use of these spirits. So the school that they go to is a bunch of trees that have been trained to grow together into like this giant tower, and it is so awesome. I think personally for me the most interesting character while she is around is the mean girl character, because of course our female lead goes to the school and encounters a mean girl, but the mean girl is complex. She has wants and desires, and she's not just bitchy all the time. She's kind of more like me, sort of like I'm bitchy with my friends sometimes, but they kind of just like know that that's how I am, versus like just somebody who's a hateful bitch all the time. Like, I'm gonna sass you and I'm gonna be doing my own thing. I'm Slytherin, hello. But I'm still gonna be a good friend to you, and that is where the mean girl kind of is in this story, and I really liked it, and I really wish that we got to follow her more, honestly. It is interesting, in this world only women can control spirits. I don't know how I feel about that or why that was chosen. I'm not a huge fan of worlds that have like this arbitrary gender split about people who have certain abilities and people who don't. But on the plus side, not all women can control the spirits, only some of them, and everybody else, including the men who want to control spirits, there are these things called charms, which are like items that you can have, like, I don't know, I picture them looking like a piece of wood with a rune on it or something, that will allow you to control the spirits. It's just less effective than being able to do it with your own personal like magic, I guess. In this world, as I mentioned, there is a queen. It is a matriarchy. They always have a queen because she is in control of the spirits, the most control of the spirits, and anyone can become queen. Once you graduate from this magical school, you are basically just waiting around for the queen to die to see if you will become the next queen, at which time you will become imbued by the spirits with even more power, so you are the most powerful. And you rule the people and you protect them from the spirits. I love the girl friendship in this book. Delena has several girlfriends that she has bonded with, and I love to see it. It's not as deep as it could be, but it's still there, and there's not that sense of animosity and, ooh, other girls are my enemies. Boy, I have a lot of notes on this book. Brace yourselves, I guess. So the other character that we follow is an ex-guard named Vin, I can't remember. And he fits the grizzled mercenary archetype. He's not the most original character that there ever was, and while it is interesting to follow him in his story, I don't love him. This book does have several time jumps in it, so if you are, say, hating a certain section, like you're not really into the section where they're at school, well, don't worry, this isn't a book all about being in a magical school. There's going to be a time jump, and we're going to go into, you know, the next phase of her life, because we do follow our main character over a long period of time. I'm not as big of a fan of time jumps, but I think it was done okay in this book. I kind of do wish that we had spent more time at the magical school, to be honest, because I thought it was really cool. So let's just talk about the main character. I've been kind of beating around the bush. Like I said, a couple of the side characters are more interesting to me than her. She's a major goody-goody, which is not necessarily an archetype that I enjoy. If you are into very lawful good characters, then you might like Delena, but she's a little bit much for me. And she also, we are told over and over again, and Delena is told over and over again how she's shit at this. She's not good at controlling the spirits. She's the least powerful one. She sucks. But we aren't shown this. Demonstrably, Delena does pretty well. Like, maybe she's not the top of her class, and the way that she gets things done is maybe a little unorthodox, but ultimately we have no proof that Delena sucks at any of this. It might have helped if we had spent a little more time with Delena. Another problem that this book has is that we hop around quite a bit, seeing things that are going on in different parts of the kingdom, but I think that our main characters can suffer because of that. While it's good to know what's happening elsewhere in the kingdom, I tend to prefer a book that's a little tighter. However, if you do like books that hop around a lot more, that might not be an issue for you. Something that happened in this book that drove me up the wall is at one point the most promising heir, the next one in line for the throne, is killed. And we have not gotten to know this person beforehand. We just know that Ven was close with her, and that's it. And like, everyone in the book is shitting themselves over this character and how great she was and how much she's going to be missed, and I'm like, why weren't we following this character? Like, she didn't have to be the main character, but we could have been getting stuff from her before her death that would have helped us to care whether she died, because as a reader, it doesn't matter how much these other characters tell us that she was awesome. We didn't see it. We didn't see any of it. So, like, so much focus is put on this person who doesn't even really exist in the story. Speaking of reasons that I don't love our main character, she has a pet wolf, because suddenly and randomly this turned into like a middle grade. This is not a middle grade book. There is violence and sex in this book. But our main character really reminds me of a middle grade heroine. There is some romance in this book, but I have written down that it is wholesome but bland, and honestly it is so bland that I don't even remember it. I will say for our main character that we finally do get to see a main character who is good at being a leader. One of Delena's skills is that she is really good at rallying people. She is really good at looking at a situation and knowing what to do and getting people to do it, and I really like to see that, because so often we have these characters in books that are like, she became the leader, and I'm like, with what skills? She's terrible at leading. Delena is actually what you might call a natural born leader, and I do like that about her. This book is proof positive that you can have flawed writing and still have an enjoyable story. A lot of the writing in this book was very tell-y, and the phrasing was not like great. The writing skill on display in this book was not the highest, but because the world and the story were still interesting, I was able to look past it. Which is encouraging for all of us writers out there, because none of us are ever going to write a perfect book. We should still get good at it, as good as we can, but it's okay. We need to focus on crafting excellent stories. And I was disappointed by the ending. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but the way it went down, I just thought it was going to go in a different direction and a much more intriguing direction, and instead it played it pretty safe. Overall, I really did enjoy Queen of Blood, and I think I am going to read the next book in the series. I have gotten a little bit of a spoiler by accident about the next books, and I'm kind of disappointed by what I found, but I'm going to withhold my judgment until I have actually read them. So if I do, you will see a review for it, probably. And if you're tired of waiting around for reviews to show up on my channel, you can get a first impressions review on my Goodreads, links in the doobly-doo, and then you can come to my channel whenever I manage to post a proper review like this for more in-depth thoughts. So those are my thoughts on Queen of Blood. Have you read it? Does it sound intriguing to you? Do you now want to own a little Pokemon spirit thing that will try to kill you at any given opportunity? Because I kind of want to. I feel like maybe my cats, and Nigel is up here, are similar to that. So there's that. Maybe I already do. Don't forget, everyone, that I post new videos Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking. And, of course, if you liked what you saw here, but you really wish it was higher quality, you don't have to control spirits. All you have to do is go and support me on my Patreon. All the support I get from Patreon is slowly being accumulated to buy me better equipment. I want to get a camera so good that you could read the titles of all of my books in the background. Well, that'll be exciting. Someday. And I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
What's up, everybody? It is shout out time. Time to shout out to my very first patron, Kim. And if you want to be cool like Kim, become a patron over on Patreon.